Beverly Buckley here with the truth about the banks, and we've got one of our final interviews for now. I'm going to be chatting to Winnie, King, and Ian, who's going to be just giving us a little bit of an overview of what is exactly happening with this case. It is a human rights case. It is a class action. They call it class action.
Yes.
Class action that they are setting against the banks, the four major banks in South Africa, with some of the, I can't even put it into words how disgusting it is, the things that they've done to these poor people. And they're just ruthless. It's just not even, it's not even legal or fair or acceptable in any way, or even reasonable, not anywhere near reasonable. So tell us a little bit, I think, Ian, do you want to start and just mention to us what this whole thing is?
Well, first of all, I would like to say this, that the South African Constitution...
You're a spokesperson of housing class action. That's right.
Yeah, okay, I'm the spokesperson for housing class action, and I just want to put an overall view. The South African Constitution is put as a model of democracy and human rights. But the reality is that the Constitution does not exist for the majority of people, because access to the Constitutional Court means that you have to have an awful lot of money, which people don't have. Even to hire an ordinary lawyer at a low level is more money to hire a lawyer for 3 or 4 hours than most people make in a month. So they have no access. So here, through housing class action, we are able to sort of circumvent the system and make the Constitution relevant for some of the people. But every day, the Constitution does not exist for most South Africans, and that's one of our first demands. We want the Constitution.
And it should be taught to all kids in schools.
Yes.
They should know their basic human rights. It should be taught to them in schools. The Constitution should be taught to children, to teenagers in schools.
And the attitude of government departments to the poor is disgraceful. I want to just quote now, because one group from Wildebeestfontein Everton Community Association wrote to the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development here in South Africa. And they got a letter back saying, "We acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 1st of August 2012, contents have been noted. We advise that you approach an attorney to provide you with a comprehensive legal opinion on the way forward in this matter. The attorney will explore the options available to you in terms of our law." Now, what had happened was someone had been evicted from a house which was fully paid up. Now he's saying what he's saying to this community is, go away, you're poor, we don't care about you. And this is, I'd like his name to be known. This was signed by Mr. T. Ratchimvumo, Acting Chief Legal Research. T. Ratchimvumo, Acting Chief Legal Research. So where is the justice? Where is the constitutional development? Now, when we come to the banks, what we're seeing is criminal activity, not just from the banks, but also by the criminal syndicates, which involve courts, police, and estate agents. The four major banks are criminal organizations, the worst of which is Nedbank. Why we say they're criminal organizations? It's because when we're dealing with evictions, we're not just looking at a few cases of some banks which have made a mistake or where some individual employees have...
It's blatantly a standard.
It's standard practice. The most obvious one is over insurance. When someone takes out a long-term loan, a 20-year loan, they also have to pay insurance
Yes.
in case they default
default
on the loan.
And then the bank gets paid out in full.
And we know of no single case, there's no single case that we are aware of, and we've been working on this in detail for a number of years now. There's no single case we know where the insurance has kicked in and people have been given their title deeds. In every case that we are aware of, the banks have claimed the insurance money and still evicted people. So that means that this is a criminal act, it's theft by the banks.
Okay. And so that's one of the things you're going to be bringing up in your legal.
Yeah.
This is going to be obviously Advocate Douglas Shaw has noted this and is going to bring all of this information.
Exactly. On top of which, the number of evictions that we're aware of, where other than that, the law as it is at the moment, we're not talking about morality, we're not talking about the law as we'd like to see it or what should happen, we're talking about the law as it exists currently in South Africa.
No, the actual law, not just the airy-fairy, this is what we would like to
Yeah,
happen.
the actual law. There are cases where people have been evicted according to actual law. And from the cases we see, literally they're probably about 1 in 1,000. So even carrying out the law as it is written is hardly ever done. It's a rarity. Most evictions in South Africa are illegal if you scratch the surface. Now, the other problem is that when we go to court, we're talking about civil law, and yet you've got criminal acts. The fact in South Africa today is that if someone steals your cell phone on the street and they're caught, they will go to prison for a year or 2. If someone steals your house, the best thing that can happen is after 2 or 3 years litigation, you may get that house back. But you
have to pay for that litigation.
You've got to pay for that. And then we have heard of no case of someone being arrested for theft of a house and destroying someone's whole life. And when people are talking about, hey, there's so much petty crime in South Africa, what do they expect will happen when you are destroying people's lives and making them move them from a house to a squatter camp?
So this is more than just about the illegal things that have been going on in all this. This is about defamation of people's human rights. Yes. It really is a human rights issue, and it needs to be dealt with in that way. And that's what you have started this group for. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
These are criminal acts, and we need to see the people who've been involved in these acts treated criminally. We also have to look at these 4 major banks. They are willfully breaking the law on a daily basis. And I think government should look at their banking licenses.
Well, okay. So I think we've got that. That's the truth about the banks. They need to be checked out. But the main truth behind that as well is people need to start standing in their power, because people will banks will take advantage, governments will take advantage, other people will take advantage. So we can point the finger at 1,000 different people, but I think at some point it needs to come to where we look at ourselves and say, how am I allowing this? And start standing in our power and say, okay, no more, it's going to stop now. And looking at the law to that and learning ourselves, because we can, as long as we can keep on saying, oh, but I didn't know, and claim ignorance. And some people validly, they actually don't know. But then when you do know, decide to change that and decide to start educating other people as well, so that it doesn't become a problem in the future, because then you're empowering people to say, no, if someone punches you through the face, if a bully comes and punches you, and you just let them do it all the time, they're going to keep on doing it. The minute you stand up with a brick in your hand and say, do that one more time, it's going to be in your face, guess what? They're going to stop very quickly.
Yeah.
But that's the point. We need to get to that point where instead of saying, I'm so pathetic, they were taking advantage of me, we get to the point where we say, enough is enough. We're going to come together. We might not be strong on our own, but as a group, we are very strong. So
Yes, exactly. I'd also like to say it's not only the banks, the courts.
Yes.
Gauteng, South Gauteng High Court, 80% of the cases.
I'm counting on that.
So
Okay, perfect. So I think let's let King get into this.
Okay,
We've got to
pass
keep
on to
this
King. Yeah.
short, sweet, and give us the meat and potatoes, King.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Just in conclusion, I think, firstly, I want to say that's why we come together as a Human Rights Foundation. As three of us here, we are directors of this company. Because seeing we are doing a voluntary job. We don't have no sense. We don't even have a budget, of running this, because this is a huge.
It's a thing from your heart.
But firstly, before maybe I come to conclusion, firstly, I want to say 80% of the role of the High Courts and the Magistrate Court are eviction in terms of section for subsection 2. In other words, our courts are busy with evictions now. Because you know why? Because with eviction and rules accident fund, there are a lot of money. Most of people are invested in properties, including politicians, judges, and so on. They invested in property. That's why you see there are silence on eviction. Government will talk about RTP rather than evictions. The question is now, these people are going to vote next year. Now, how are they going to vote? Which addresses are they going to use? Because those people are on the street. But their vote is expected, but they don't care with them. Because in a vote, we are saying your voice, your vote is your voice. Now, how are they going to benefit out of this? Because they are outside. That's the first thing. So it means if you are not interrogating the court, campaigning against this court, and then obviously we are going to reduce the eviction. That's the first thing. The second issue is with regard to default judgments. Out of 80%, half of this 80% are default judgments, where our people were not served properly. And then in court,
that's what they do all the time.
Yes. Then the person will be seen, I'm staying in my house. Later, I hear somebody coming to me and say, I bought this house, whilst I'm occupying the house. Now, where is the law of property? Because you see, amongst the other things, the court dealing with technicalities rather than the historical of the house. Because you see, there are a lot of laws that are not being utilized in this instance. Because, for instance, we need to start with the introduction of law of property. The ready right. The entitlement, which is the court doesn't consider them, which is that's very important. But beyond everything, there are laws also. Ian has talked about the constitution. There's a very important judgment in terms of reference here. It's called the Government of the Republic of South Africa and others. Versus Goldberg and others. What this judgment entails that no person must be evicted without an alternative accommodation. So now it's a responsibility of the municipality to ensure that with any eviction prior to eviction, municipality must be involved. But in support of my statement, there's a Housing Act, Act 107 of 1997. Within this act, there's a chapter 12, which is called Code 12. Now, what this code says, it says if municipalities see that there's going to be an eviction there, or the sheds are going to be burned, municipality must begin to intervene. Not
to sit there quietly.
Not to sit there quietly, and because that is their constitutional obligation to do that. And this act even stipulates that. It's a pity that we don't have time. I'll get it for you. So if the municipality, if then there's a threat of eviction, municipality must come in. So now all these laws are not being utilized, because before the eviction took place, section 2 of chapter 2, it says the government must do all their efforts in showing that use even all the availability resources to ensure the realization of the human rights, which has not been done. But furthermore, we have what you call it judicial oversight. Now, what is judicial oversight? At the magistrate court level, it's called section 26, it's called section 66(1)(a), in terms of Magistrate Court Act 32 of 1944, which is now the court must come in protecting the victim, if then the attorney never do a correct job, So it's a duty of the court to assist on those bases. So therefore, now, but in essence, what we are saying in conclusion, we are saying, first and foremost, now we are not being protected by the constitution and by any.
By the court, by the police, by the constitution, by the municipality, by no one. And they're all supposed to be protecting the people, aren't they? But the opposite is happening.
Sorry,
We know the police, with all the other people I've interviewed, the police have been the ones that are instigating this the worst. Putting people in prison, not even having any legal thing with regards to that. People going to prison for 6 months or a weekend or, when they've got kids. You see what I'm saying? It's not okay. So we know the police have been part of this problem.
If then, what we are saying here, if you cannot be protected, so we need to take arm and protect ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes. Because no one is prepared to protect us.
We need to learn how to say enough.
Whether the how part, it will depend on us. Whether we take whatever we take so that we can be protected, because no one is interested in protecting ourselves. The only thing that can be used. But furthermore, now, very interesting. Then if we go to court, we are hoping to go to court next year with that was shown. And then we want to make Johannesburg to come to this stage. Because we have heavyweights now on our side, which is supporting us, which is COSATU and the SACP, which is now will be joining us in this campaign, as political now, while we are doing.
Because you got the political thing from it. Because then you get heard. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They're not going to vote for us. Let's make them happy. How can we make this work? Yeah, because that's what it is. The whole story is about getting votes, is it not?
Of course. As I said to you, the question would be say, now how are we going to vote if then we don't have addresses anymore? Because in the voting, they want your address, your particular physical address. So how I'm going to vote because I don't have a physical address. But beyond that, next year prior to court, we are organizing a big prayers meeting where we are going to call upon all the churches to make a prayer for evictions.
Amazing.
And secondly, we are also going to call all the traditional healers to support us.
I like that.
Then the third one, we are going to call all the chiefs around, because these are the people who have been suffered with the eviction, so there's no nation building, but it's destroying the society. But beyond that, what is very important is that after that, now we want to organize a national strike, a one-day national strike, so that people can see that we are meaning business. We are sick and tired. Enough is enough in relation to my eviction. But in conclusion, we want to say, our point of departure is to say, we want all these matters of eviction must move from these present courts, have a special court that's going to deal
just with eviction.
Just with eviction. Yeah. Our mistake, what we have done as government. Government has opened up a land claims court, but they made a mistake. How do you separate the land from the house? So these things are going simultaneously. So it is along those lines we are saying now we want a special court. Now in this special court, already we have spoken to Department of Justice, throwing this suggestion, which is the Department of Justice, they are willing, because what we are saying, we want, there must be lawyers that are going to be trained, there must be advocates that are going to be trained, and then there need to be magistrates that are going to be trained. There's the judges that need to be trained, so that they are dealing with this issue.
Right. Okay, cool. I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to ask Winnie to wrap it up for us. So Winnie, do you want to have any final words or things you'd like to say for us?
Oh yes, please. As we can see that it's only corruption that is involved here. What we need to be done, just to add to what he and here saying is that they have to investigate the South African Housing Trust Fund, because this fund was established in 2001. But in 2006, we see a lot of transactions, transactions that were made from the South African Housing Trust Fund into the estate agents, like rail housing, Shani, them. And those as the estate agencies that are run by the politicians themselves. Investigations needs to be.
The big investigation needs to be taking place here. It's not just about evictions. It's not just about evictions. Evictions is just like the icing on the cake. It actually goes much deeper than that.
Also, the township establishment needs to be done. It needs to be investigated because people have been exposed to danger. We talk about tsunami, but tsunami is going to happen here. A very serious one. That needs to be investigated. Hopefully, the corruption maybe it will stop.
We need the Tanzanian president to come and teach our president some presidential, ways to handle a country, because clearly he has an idea of. You've heard about the Tanzanian president and what he's been up to, and he's cracking the whip. We need a president like that. Like, I pray for that. I'm going to ask all the Sangomas to put their bones in for that, because that would be a nice president to have, right? All right, so thank you very much all for joining us this afternoon, and it was great to chat to all of you. And thank you for, opening up not only my eyes, but I think there's going to be a few people that might watch this video that are going to say, wow, that's me, or wow, I didn't know that was going on, and maybe be able to either contribute or be able to assist in some way. So thank you very much.